Okay, if you guys want to fill this in as I go through it, and so you have this to look back on when you do your assignment today. You know, this is rational expressions. We've talked about this stuff when we talked about polynomials some, but this next unit here is all about rational expressions, which is basically fractions. So we've done a lot of simple ones before. 24x squared over 10x, say. And if we want to simplify that, this is just an example. You could reduce 24 over 10 is 12 over 5, and then x squared over x, remember, is just an x in the top. So there'll be some of those on your assignment here. These other ones here are a little more complicated ones, so I wanted to quickly go through them. So number one here, if you notice, you got two binomials in top, one binomial in the bottom. If an expression in top matches exactly with the expression in the bottom, you can cancel them out like this, and you're just left with x minus 2. Number two, you know, the way I would look at it is you can factor something out of the top here, since they both have a common factor of 2. If I factor a 2 out of the top, you're left with x minus 4, and then a 6 in the bottom. That 2 in the top can cancel out now with the 6. Because that 2 is separated out, it can cancel with the 6. So it reduces down to a 1 and a 3. So you're left with x minus 4 in top and a 3 in the bottom. Okay. The third one here, I would actually combine these like terms in top first. 12x minus 8x is 4x. In the bottom, you got an 8x minus 4. And again, I can't really reduce down until I factor something out. I can't just reduce the 4 and the 8 down because there's other stuff involved. So let's just factor out. Let's factor 2 out of the top, and let's factor a 4 out of the bottom. Oops, I screwed up. There's a 2 here. If I factor 4 out of the bottom, you got 2x minus 1. Okay, so the 2 and the 4 out front can cancel down to a 1 and a 2. You might think these cancel, but since they're not exactly the same, yeah, they actually can't. So it's really just a 2x plus 1 in top, and then a 2 times a 2x minus 1 in the bottom. And that can be your answer. Okay, number 4, you might have some flashbacks here. X squared, 4x plus 3. It's a binomial. Again, I'm looking to factor it so that I can try to cancel it with that thing in the bottom. So the idea is, hopefully that rings a bell, that top part's a double bubble, or two binomials. So it's an x and an x. I need two numbers that multiply to 3 and add to 4. So it's going to be a plus 3 and a plus 1. Okay, now you can see I've got this binomial on top exactly the same as this binomial on the bottom. If they're exactly the same, I can cancel them out, and you're just left with x plus 3. Okay, number 5 here. If you notice on number 5, you do have a trinomial here, but it's not an x squared, an x, and a constant, so it's not actually a double bubble. And if you look at it closely, these are all like terms. So really, you can put those 3 together and get what negative 20 plus 10 is a negative 10x in top, and then a 20x in the bottom. And hopefully you can reduce that down. That's just negative 1 over 2, right? The x's cancel out. Okay, and the last one here, again, you got a binomial on top, you got this trinomial on the bottom. Let's see if we can do anything with this trinomial. And again, if you notice it's in the form x squared plus an x term plus a constant, that's a big clue that's going to be a double bubble in the bottom there. So it's x and x for the first terms, and it's got to be two numbers that times the 12 and add to negative 7. So that would be, I think, a negative 4 and a negative 3. And again, notice that this binomial on bottom, same as this binomial on top. So those can cancel. So you're left with a 1 in top and an x minus 4 in the bottom. Okay, so that's just some examples there of simplifying some rational expressions. I think the first few on your assignment are fairly straightforward. Then there's some ones that get a little more complicated like this. So, look back on this to help guide you through your assignment.